Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. The Warriors could experience something unprecedented, the two Curry brothers playing together. Seth Curry is a great three-point shooter and could help the Lakers with their rotation. Seth Curry has a 45% shooting efficiency from long range. The Golden State Warriors are yet to make an addition to the roster this summer. Mike Dunleavy Jr. and Joe Lacob are likely tied up in negotiations with Jonathan Kuminga, whose unrestricted free agency has turned into the biggest saga of the offseason. According to ESPN's Anthony Slater, Seth Curry is drawing mutual interest with the Warriors. Adding the sharpshooter would put both Curry brothers on the same team, while also giving Steve Kerr's second unit one of the most trusty sharpshooters the NBA has to offer. They want some extra shooting, Slater said via a recent episode of ESPN's NBA Today. And another name I'm hearing, with mutual interest, Seth Curry as a potential bench shooting option with family ties. Curry played in 68 games for the Charlotte Hornets last season, averaging 6.5 points and 1.7 rebounds per outing. However, it was his efficiency that caught the eye, with him shooting 45.6% from deep on 2.7 attempts each game. He also shot 50.3% from two-point range. The Warriors would likely welcome some additional floor spacing off the bench. Furthermore, Curry could be available at the minimum, which would make him a cost-controlled addition with significant upside. Of course, other teams around the NBA could also covet the shooting he brings, so it will remain to be seen whether the Warriors firm up their reported interest and sign him to a year in the Bay Area. Warriors have obvious Jonathan Kuminga trade demand after latest Kings reports. They must get back one of these two players. Jonathan Kuminga is reportedly open-minded to the idea of joining the Sacramento Kings as the uncertain future of the Golden State Warriors forward continues on further. ESPN reported on Thursday that Kuminga is in no rush to sign a deal with the Warriors, leaving the door open for the Sacramento Kings and Phoenix Suns to continue exploring sign-and-trade opportunities. The Warriors still have the leverage of Kuminga being a restricted free agent and have thus far balked at offers from both teams, yet that could change if the Kings were to give in on an obvious trade demand. The Warriors must get Keegan Murray or Keon Ellis back from the Kings. Sacramento is once again at the forefront of discussions when it comes to Kuminga's next potential destination, with ESPN's Anthony Slater stating on Friday that the 22-year-old has been in conversation with their front office and head coach Doug Christie. Kuminga had contact with the Kings in the last couple of days, Slater said. It was the first time he met Scott Perry, and this wasn't in person, but it's the first time he's communicated with Scott Perry, Doug Christie, and B.J. Armstrong. And from what I've gathered, he liked the pitch that Scott Perry gave. He's open-minded to the idea of Sacramento. Joined the insiders and mentioned that Jonathan Kuminga had contact with the Kings in the last couple days and is open-minded to the idea of Sacramento. The Kings previously offered up Devin Carter, Dario Saric and 2 second-round picks for Kuminga, to which the Warriors rejected rather quickly. Golden State have to be resolute in their demands. Keegan Murray or Keon Ellis have to be involved, or there's no way a sign-and-trade gets done. Murray and Ellis are evidently Sacramento's two most valuable players that are also realistic from a contractual standpoint in a sign-and-trade. In fact, Ellis' measly $2.3 million deal would require one or two more players to be included in order to match salary. Murray has been the absolute dream target for Warrior fans, but there's no indication that his inclusion in a Kuminga sign-and-trade would be at all possible. Ellis is a little more realistic though, even if there's great debate among Kings fans on whether they should actually be willing to relinquish the 25-year-old in a Kuminga deal. It would be interesting to see how much Golden State actually value Ellis, particularly given they're expected to bring in DeAnthony Melton as a veteran 3-and-D guard in free agency. Ellis has made his name as one of the best young perimeter defenders in the league, while also shooting a career 42.9% from three-point range, including 43.3% on 4 attempts per game last season. Adding one of Murray or Ellis has to be a non-negotiable for the Warriors, otherwise they should continue their pursuit to bring the former 7th overall pick back on a new contract themselves. Jonathan Kuminga wants to leave Warriors, likes Kings and Suns. Jonathan Kuminga wants to leave the Golden State Warriors and likes the idea of playing for the Sacramento Kings or Phoenix Suns, an NBA source told Hoops Wire on Saturday. The Suns and Kings are interested in Kuminga, but neither franchise has extended an offer sheet to the talented forward, the NBA source said. As a restricted free agent, Kuminga can either re-sign with the Warriors on a new deal, play next season with Golden State on a qualifying offer worth $7.9 million and enter unrestricted free agency next offseason, or sign an offer sheet with a rival team. If Kuminga signs an offer sheet with a team, the Warriors can either match the offer sheet or let the 22-year-old swingman leave and execute a sign-and-trade deal. "We're trying to be responsible. With the aprons and hard caps and all of that, you can't just throw money around. We still love Jonathan. We're hopeful we can figure out a way to strike a balance that works for him and for us. But we're not going to compromise our roster-building ability now, or in the future. We have to be responsible in the way we build our team," a Warriors front office executive told NBA reporter Keith Smith of Spotrac. Kuminga averaged 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 2.2 assists for the Warriors last season in 47 games. He shot 45.4% from the field, 30.5% from beyond the arc and 66.8% from the free throw line. Kuminga has career averages of 12.5 points, 4.0 rebounds, and 1.8 assists with the Warriors. He was the 7th overall pick in the 2021 draft. Warriors make their stance on Al Horford crystal clear with other free agency moves. Golden State are set on the 39-year-old. The timing of Al Horford's signing with the Golden State Warriors may be dictated by the resolution on Jonathan Kuminga's future, but their actual interest in the veteran center won't be dictated by the result of that outcome. That's the crystal clear picture that's been painted in regard to the Warriors and the 39-year-old, having only strengthened as a result of subsequent speculation on the franchise's other planned free agency moves. The Warriors are all in on signing Al Horford in free agency. From when news of their interest first broke in the hours leading up to free agency, the link between Golden State and Horford has only gained more prominence in the weeks since. It's now got to a point where the 5X All-Star has been penciled in as part of the opening night roster, with a total shock in store if anything different were to take place. I would say if they are not able to get that done, if Horford, who you hear is also mulling retirement if he's not on the roster next year, it's a big miss by the Warriors because that's in their plans, ESPN's Anthony Slater said on Thursday. Here's some of the latest on Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors' other free agency targets. There is mutual interest with Seth Curry. The Warriors also don't appear to have an insurance plan in place if Horford was to surprisingly reject the franchise and head into retirement or sign elsewhere. Of all the other players they've been linked to in free agency, almost all of them are guards. DeAnthony Melton has joined Horford as an expected signing once the Kuminga situation is completed, while Golden State could also mull between bringing back Gary Payton II or adding sharpshooter Seth Curry. They've also been less prominently linked to veteran point guard and former Sixth Man of the Year Malcolm Brogdon, while the front office will also have to decide on whether to give 56th overall pick Will Richard a standard or two-way contract. Within all of this, no real mention of another big man being added to the mix. This would suggest that not only are Golden State certain that Horford will actually sign, but that they have real confidence in the 18-year veteran physically holding up over a long season with help from youngsters Quinton Post and Tracy Jackson-Davis, of course. Horford is expected to become the Warriors' starting center next season to allow Draymond Green to return to his customary power forward role, having started in 75 of 125 games with the Boston Celtics over the past 2 seasons. Al Horford's signing will bring underrated element that Warriors fans can't ignore. The expected free agency signing of Al Horford will not only deliver the Golden State Warriors with a veteran center who can stretch the floor at a high level, but it will also bring another underrated element that shouldn't be ignored upon the 39-year-old's arrival. The Steve Kerr system over the last decade has been predicated on having big men who can pass at an elite level, starting with Draymond Green, who's formed an incredible chemistry with Stephen Curry and previously Klay Thompson. The recently departed Kevin Looney is a good passer, though his other offensive limitations forced him to the bench and at times out of the rotation altogether. As his replacement of sorts, Horford will provide the added shooting while also being a distributor that Kerr and the Warriors can use in different ways. The Warriors will have another savvy big man passer in Al Horford. Recently speaking on Hoops Tonight with Jason Timpf, Sam Esfandiari of the Light Years podcast outlined the lack of front-court playmaking that Golden State have endured when Green has been off the floor in recent times. One of the biggest things El would bring to the Warriors is it's not playing Draymond and Horford together, it's having 48 minutes of having one of them on the floor at all times, Esfandiari said. The development of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown as dominant on-ball players in recent years has relegated Horford into more of a spot-up role, something that he's still proven very valuable in as a 40.9% three-point shooter over the last 3 seasons. Horford's assist numbers have been on the decline over the past 4 years, but in fairness so too have his turnovers at less than 1 per game during the same period. His early tenure in Boston perhaps provides a greater indication of what he could do within the Warriors system, having averaged 5.0 and 4.7 assists over his first 2 years as a Celtic in 2016-17 and 2017-18, the 2 highest of his career. Warriors expected to compete with Mavericks for LeBron James under one condition. LeBron James' future with the Los Angeles Lakers continues to generate speculation, even after he picked up his $52.6 million player option for the 2024-25 season. The 4-time MVP, now entering his 22nd NBA season, remains one of the league's most productive veterans. While his decision to opt-in signaled a return to LA, debate has continued to pop up about the fluidity of his situation with the Lakers. Last season, James averaged 24.4 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 8.2 assists while shooting 51.3% from the field in 70 games, proving he remains a key contributor despite turning 40. But questions persist about how long he'll remain in purple and gold, with his agent Rich Paul declaring James' intention to contend for another championship, per ESPN's Shams Charania. According to NBA insider Mark Stein, if James were to become available via buyout, the Golden State Warriors and New York Knicks would be expected to join the Dallas Mavericks in pursuing him. However, Stein was quick to add that a buyout this summer is highly unlikely. I believe that the Warriors and the Knicks would be right there with the Mavericks if James became available via buyout, Stein wrote. Yet I will stress again that I can't imagine a buyout happening this summer no matter how much it's been discussed in the media. James had the chance to decline his player option and enter free agency, but opted in, leaving the Lakers with little incentive to explore a buyout. Stein also noted that James' camp has yet to request a trade or buyout from the team. James' commitment to Los Angeles keeps the Lakers' core intact for now. But with multiple contenders monitoring the situation, his long-term status remains one of the most closely watched storylines of the offseason. James has spent 7 seasons with the Lakers, the most consecutive stint with the franchise throughout his career. It remains to be seen if the 21-time All-Star will remain in LA for another year.